Hey there, DevOps Explorer. Welcome back to Ask Ash DevOps IT, your go-to destination for AWS and DevOps. I am Ash, your friendly neighborhood DevOps guy, and today we are going to set up Kubernetes onto AWS, and we are going to deploy a sample application onto the Kubernetes cluster. But before we begin, let us understand what is Kubernetes. As this is an installation video of Kubernetes, so I'm not going to go into details as of now. This will be a very short video on the theory part of Kubernetes. Let me know in the comment section below if you want a detailed video on Kubernetes components and its architecture. So what is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is an open source container orchestration platform which automates many manual processes involved in deploying, managing and scaling containerized application. So on the screen you can see Kubernetes architecture. It consists of two main parts. First is the Kubernetes master node and the another one is the worker node. So Kubernetes master node consists of API servers, schedulers, control manager and etcd, and the Kubernetes worker node consists of kubelet, kube proxy, Docker daemon, container runtime, and in the end we have pods. So as I said earlier, I am not going to go into the details onto each one of this. This is going to be a very short video. Let me know in the comment section if you want a detailed video on each of these sections. So let's begin our practical. I will just log into screen and I will be back. Hey guys, welcome back. So as you can see, I have logged on to my system. I'm into my AWS console. So before we begin our practical lab for Kubernetes cluster installation, I want you guys to know that creating this lab, doing this practical, AWS will charge you. So unless and until you are not sure, please, I recommend that you should not do this. You should just see the video, just see the step what we are going through, but do not do this until you are ready to pay upfront. So let's begin. I have already documented every step which we are going to perform. So the step 1 is create the EC2 instance with Ubuntu VM. So we will quickly go ahead into our EC2 dashboard. We are going to create an EC2 instance. Currently I do not have any instance as we are setting up the cluster from scratch. So I will quickly click on the launch instance. Okay, so I will name this instance as my Kubernetes master node. So as we are using Ubuntu VM, so I will select that. Instance type should be T2 micro, that's okay. Key pair I already have one with me. Same for the network setting. Security group I already have one, so if you do not have one, you can go ahead and you can create one, or you can use the default one, it does not matter. Apart from that, I think so there is nothing needs to be done, so we will click on the launch instance. So we will wait for instance to get ready. So this is our instance ID. Let's click on that and let's see what's the status of our instance. It's into pending state as of now, so we will wait until we get the ready. So now our instance is in running state. So we will quickly connect to our instance. We will copy the public IP of our instance. We will open putty and we will load the key pair. We will put public IP, and as this is Ubuntu VM, so I am setting up the login user as Ubuntu. So as this is the first time we are connecting, it is giving us a security alert. We have to accept it, and yes, we are done. So let me clear the screen. So our first step is complete. We will go on to our second step, which is install kubectl in the Ubuntu VM which just we have created. So for that, first we will do the curl command. Okay, so it's completed. Okay, I see it has taken. Okay, so what we can do is, I have a document for it as well. I will copy the command. I will paste it. Okay, now that's good. let's wait for it to download a file. Until then, what we can do is we can go ahead and we can copy the next command. We are just changing the mode. We are giving the executable permission, adding the executable permission for a kubectl file. So I will quickly copy it. So yeah, now it's complete. I will just change the mode. Then we will move the command to the user local bin directory. Okay, now we just have to see the kubectl version --- short --- client. Okay, so yes, a client version is installed. So our first step is complete. Now we will go on to the second step. So we will install AWS CLI, command line interface. So for this, first of all, we need to install the unzip software. So we are going to do that. So what I will do is, this copy pasting, it's really hard for me over here. So I will use my document file for this. So I will click on this. Okay, unzipping. So I will curl the command. Okay. Really sorry about that. I forgot to add curl over there. Really sorry about that. So yes, I will clear the screen. I will input the command. Yeah, it's working now. Now I will unzip it. Now we will do is we will install the command line. So now we are good to run the version. Let's check it. So yeah, AWS version 8 is currently installed, CLI. So we will just go on to our third step, which will be the fourth step, which will be installing EKSCTL. So to install that, again we are going to follow a set of commands. So I'm just copying it. If you need these notes, please do message me in the comments. So I will just share this file with you. Okay, it's done. Now the second. Okay, it's completed. Now the third. We just have to check the version now. Everything has been done. Yes, good. So now the next step is we have to create an IAM role and we have to attach this role into a EC2 instance. So I will go ahead quickly and install the IAM role. I do not have the shortcut for that, so don't worry about it. So we will quickly go on to the roles. We will create a role, AWS as a service, and we are using for EC2, so that's okay. Now the permission. So we are going to need few policies. So we are going to need IAM full access. We are going to need VPC full access. We are going to need EC2 full access. We are going to need admin rights, and we are going to need cluster. What was the name? I think so. Let me check. cloud formation, not cluster formation, cloud formation. Really sorry about that. So cloud formation. So here it is. So we have taken all the policies. So role name, so we are going to set EKS cluster role. You can name it anything you want. So these are the policy which we have attached: administration access, EC2 full access, VPC full access, cloud formation full access, and IAM full access. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to create the role. So it is creating the role. So role has been created. Now we will go ahead onto IC2 instance. This is our instance and we are going to attach that role. So for that we are going into action, we are going into the instance setting, security, and here we are having modified IAM role. So we are going to attach that role. So we have to select a role which we have just created. So it is EKS cluster role. I am going to select that. I am going to click on update IAM roles. So it will attach the role to my EC2 instance. Okay, that's cool. So now the next step. Now we are going to go ahead and we are going to do the cluster creation. So before doing that, let me quickly show you one thing. So this is Elastic Kubernetes Service, EKS. As of now I do not have any cluster with me, so let's wait and let's see. Okay, you can see cluster is 0. I do not have anything with me, right? So we'll go ahead and we will create one. This is the command for cluster creation. So we'll click on this. So it is just EKS create cluster -- name, the name of the cluster which you want. So as of now I'm going to name it as ask Ash DevOps, and region is AP South 1, node type is T2 medium. So this is T2 medium, so this is which is going to cost us. So if you are not ready, because if we are using as a micro T2 instance, then your system will not work. The pod creation, the services which we are running, the system will get slow, it will get hang, you will not be able to do anything. That's why we are going to need a T2 medium, and this is the thing which is going to charge us. So if you are not ready, so please do not follow this step, just avoid it as of now. Just see what I am doing and try to learn. So again, the zone will be AP South 1 and AP South 1B. So I'm going to, okay, must be satisfied. Okay, so I will just name it anything else. There should not be any, so I will name it as ask Ash. So cluster creation has been started. So it will take around 15 to 20 minutes by the time. So I am going to skip this video. So until then, please wait. So yes, the installation has been done, is completed. It nearly took around 20 minutes for me, might be different for you, but now we have completed. So let's go ahead and check. So to check, what we can do is kubectl get nodes. So it should come up with 2 nodes, as we have mentioned 2. So yeah, so 2 nodes are up and running. Let's go ahead and let's check into our instance. So yeah, so see, we have one master node and there are 2 nodes. These nodes have been created by Kubernetes. We have not done anything. Kubernetes has gone ahead and created this node for us. So it's into initializing stage as of now, and moreover we can go into Kubernetes cluster and we can see that one cluster has been created for us. So we have not done that, Kubernetes has done that. Earlier there was nothing over here, right? So Kubernetes has done that for us. Okay, so now we have completed step, we have created. Now we are going to create a pod and we are going to create a service, and then we are going to deploy a application. So Kubernetes pod, what is a pod? So pod is a smallest building block. As you can see, these are my nodes which I have created. So pod is the smallest building block in the Kubernetes cluster. Every container will be created inside pod. It always run inside a node. So we are going to create a pod. There are two ways. One is interactive approach and one is the declarative approach. So basically we are going to do is we are going to follow the declarative approach. We are going to write a YAML file. It's very simple. If you have previously worked with Ansible, so you will know. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to write a pod manifest file. So let me clear this up. So pod manifest.yaml. So important thing over here is the manifest file should start with the 3 dash, okay, and then it has 4 major components. First is the API version, then we have kind, then we have metadata, and lastly we have spec. And the manifest file should end with 3 dots. So in the API version we are going to have version as v1. In the kind we are going to write this pod as we are creating a pod. In the metadata we are going to write name of the metadata as my web app pod, and we are going to label it. So labels, I'm going to write app as my web app, and in the specs we are going to write the specs of the container. So containers, name of the container, my web app container, image, it should be a Docker image. So I already have one Docker image, so I'm going to use that. You can use mine if you want. The name should be exact because Kubernetes is going to go ahead and get these image onto my Docker hub. So now ports, so we have container port, it should be 8080. Okay, I think so, that's it. Let me check API version v1 kind pod. Yes, everything looks good. Now you have created the manifest file, you have to apply it. So for that we are going to use kubectl apply -app and the name of the file which you have created. So as you can see, my pod has been created. So now my application has been created, but my instance is not able to access that application as of now because we have just created a pod. So to access an instance we will have to write a service manifest file for it. Just like we have written the pod manifest, we are going to write the service manifest. So in service manifest there are 3 basically services which we will use. First is the cluster IP, second is the node port, third is the load balancer. Now I'm not going into details of each of these services. We will go deal with this on the later on in the later video. As of now we are just going to use the node port. So let me go ahead and let me write the service manifest file for you. So it will also be the same, like it will start with 3 dash, then API version, kind, metadata and spec, and it will also end with 3 dash. So for the API version, again we are going to write the version as v1. Kind we are going to write as service. Metadata I'm going to name it as my web app svc service. In the specs we are going to write selector, and we are going to give the name as app my web app. So this selector, we are writing, this is the label of the pod which we have written in the pod manifest file. So it selects this label from the pod and it connects the pod with this particular service. All right, so then we have selector, then we are going to write type. So as I said, there are three types of services. First is the cluster, first is the cluster IP, second one is the node port, and the third one is the load balancer. So as of now we are going to use the node port service. Then we have port. So we will use port as 80 and target port as 8080. So I think so it should be ports over here. Let me quickly check my file. Run the port. Okay, here. Yeah, ports. It should be ports. Yes, that's okay. So everything else looks good. So I will just go ahead and I will try to run this as well. So to run it, you have to use kubectl apply -f and the service manifest.yaml. So it has given us error, unknown field as target port. So let us quickly go ahead and let us check. We have made an error. So port, target port, I think so it should be capital P. I think so this should work now. Let's see. Yes, it has worked. So now our services have been created, our pods have been created. Now let us quickly go ahead and let us check kubectl get pods. So it will show us the pod. So currently we have one pod running, name my web app pod, but we do not know as of now where it is running, right? So we can use kubectl get pods -o wide. So this command will tell us in which node this particular pod is running. Also you can use kubectl describe pods. Yes. And I'm really sorry about this. Describe pod, and your pod name should be this. So it will give the brief information about this pod, but currently we do not need this. So I'm just going to see on which particular node this pod has been created. So for that, again we are going to do kubectl -o wide get pod -o wide. So our pod has been running under this IP. So let us quickly go ahead into our EC2 console and let's check this IP 19.184. So this is the master node, so I'm not going to check that. So let us go ahead and let us check this. So the IP address of it is 19.184. So no, it must be another instance. So our pod has been created under this instance, under this node rather. So now to access this, we have created the service manifest as well. So we will check kubectl get svc. So a service has been created. You can see my web app service, and it is running on the node port 31056. Now Kubernetes has assigned this node port for us. If you want, you can assign the node port in the service manifest as well, but as of now what I have done is I have left that field blank. So Kubernetes has assigned a port for us, so we will have to open this port to access our application. So let us go ahead into the security group and we will open this port. The port number is 31056. So this is the instance. So we will go into that security, we will go into inbound rules. We will edit the inbound rule. We will add a rule. The number port is 31056. So now I have enabled this. I will say anywhere IP4. Okay, so we will save the changes. Okay, now we will go ahead. We will go to our instance. So this was the instance. Yes. Now we will copy the instance ID. I think so. Yes. Right. Yes. So instance ID. Then we have to copy the port 31056, and you have to write the name of your application. So my application name is my web app. So HTTP error. Let me quickly go ahead and troubleshoot it. So I've checked the error. It was just minor mistake by my side. The name should have been, the application name should have been Ashray web app. So that was the error, and the application name should be in the Docker file which we have configured. So if you do not know, then let me know in the comment section, and I will tell you how to create a Docker file and how to update it. So that's all. Then your application is up and it is running using the Kubernetes cluster. And please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.